Hey, all Chris Mystery Cleaning Wheels on the Far Coast. Just wanted to say a thank you to those of you that have liked and subscribed to the channel. It really does mean a lot to try and get the message out there and help people, encourage them into, those that want to, into self-employment if they so choose. And on the subject of subscriptions and stuff like that, I think it was interesting. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine just recently before the pub shut. Cheers, Boris. It seems to be something that gets mentioned on here quite a fair bit in the comment section, is that some people find that they are deliberately undercharging to get an absolute boatload of customers. It's a good way of getting lots of customers, it's a good way of getting busy, but the bottom line is that you ultimately set yourself up to fail in the long run. It's a good short-term strategy to get loads of customers on book, and I've done it myself. I'm no saint. And I've charged, you know, under the odds to sort of encourage people to sort of take on my services and all that sort of stuff. And all it does is ultimately, when it does come to putting the prices up, they just leave. So yeah, two schools of thought. If you want to gather a load of customers to start you off and, you know, on your journey and get you busy, and then sort of 6 to 12 months into, you know, after having gathered all those customers, you then decide to put the prices up, then all well and good. I'd just like to say is, obviously, as a good piece of advice I got from a channel run by Keith Kalfas, is an American window cleaner based in Michigan, and so I'm not claiming credit for this, but there's a good message that he put out there, which is ultimately, if you have taken on a load of customers and you feel that you're undercharging, a good route out is, as he calls it, you expand the top as you shrink the bottom. So what he basically means by that is, ultimately, if you have customers that are sort of, shall we say, on the low side of yield, they're not yielding that much in the way of money, what you do is for every new customer you take on, you then take on at additional rate. So basically the way that would work is, ultimately, your customer base builds up your perceived credibility with the customer. So the customer goes, oh, he's got loads of customers, he must be really, really good, must be really, really busy. That will encourage customers then to spend more. What I personally would do is, and I do that in my business to this day, customers that I used to charge £10 front and back for a standard house, we have a minimum pricing system, a minimum charge of £5 for a front, and then access permitting and all this sort of stuff. It's basically anywhere from between £10, £12.50 to £16 for a standard house. You get to your prestigious homes and things like mansions, things like stately homes and all this sort of stuff. Then ultimately it's based purely on time, manpower, distance travelled. You put your fuel in there and all that sort of stuff, and you know, you base it on your perceived hourly rate, which I've talked about in previous videos. So yeah, I mean, once you've got the credibility, if you like, the customer sees that you have credibility and you have lots and lots of customers, even if they are at low prices, that's the time to start putting your prices up. So if you've got some, you know, quite a lot of customers, and you're getting a fair few inquiries and all this sort of stuff, or even if you're a handful of inquiries, what I would do is I would start, you know, for example, if your customers were wanting to come on, then what I would do is, ultimately, let's say if they were on £8, I would charge the next lot of customers that come on £10, and then eventually you end up with a lot of customers worth £10. Then if you have to put up the prices of your original customers and they decide to leave, well, sod 'em. It's one of those, you know, you've raised your prices, but at the same time you've not devalued what it is you do. And it's something that I do periodically, perhaps every 3 to 6 months. If a customer, I believe, is not paying, you know, a decent amount, or I'm not making enough money out of doing what I'm doing, I have to ultimately put the prices up on certain homes. It's not a case of greed. I hear a lot of people say, well, that's just greedy, blah blah, and people expecting you to work for minimum wage, which I just think is hilarious, because I can tell you something now: did not become self-employed to be poorer or busier. I can promise you, I didn't become self-employed to work for minimum wage, that's for sure. But you know, bet your balls to a barn downs. Anyway, so basically just review prices pretty steady, and ultimately you'll come good. It'll be fine. And yeah, you have to understand as well is with the reason why these price hikes sometimes take place. There's things like inflation. Every year your tax will go up, your insurance will go up, or something like that. Your costs for things like resin, your things for poles and equipment. I mean, a water-fed pole, it's like freaking 500 quid. And if you think you're gonna, that's a lot of houses you got to do to make up that kind of cost. So you know what I mean? That's something to consider. Your costs are going up, so your prices should reflect what's happening. And you know, in terms of the economy and stuff like that. If your prices aren't going up, you're getting left behind, and all you're doing is getting busier for lower rates. No one wants to be a busy fool. So yeah, have a great day, people. Once again, a big thank you to those that have subscribed. Like, share, subscribe, and obviously leave a comment in the comment section if you require any questions, tips, just general banter, whatever. Send it all my way. Have a great one, folks, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye now.